Well,
hydrating.
What a week this year has been. What a year this week has been. I can't.
I'm still processing 2025, so I refuse to live in 2026 just yet.
It's not the year; it's the mileage.
Well said. Before we dive into the darkness, because we're gonna have to get right into it tonight. Yep. I would like to issue a big congratulations to Rick and his wife Renee.
And my wife Renee.
Bravo! Congratulations, yes. Rick.
I should have kept her in here. I should have kept her in here for the intro, but here we are.
She knows. She knows we love her.
She knows we love her. She hears me talking. She can come in anytime, but
it's the joy we need. I think the whole show should actually just be talking about eternal love. Could we just do that?
You know what? I'm here for that. And
Maya?
What the world needs now.
I'm now sporting the ring.
Is love. Oh, look at the ring! Show us it. Show us the ring.
Show us the ring.
Dope.
It's dope. It's tungsten and gold. It's kind of cool.
I like it.
So, yeah, it's heavy. It's got bulk.
I don't know enough about minerals. I'm like, but is that like rare earth stuff? I don't know anything.
It's not quite rare earth stuff, although that would be very on brand for this family for a lot of reasons. But long story short, we folks, if you haven't heard or seen. Renee and I got married on Christmas Eve. Just us, very small ceremony, no big deal. Are you around? If you're around, you can come in.
Renee!
Hey, folks.
You're not going to be able to hear.
This is my official better half. They can hear you.
Hi.
You can't hear them, but they can hear you. But yeah, we got married on Christmas Eve. It was just the two of us, and we called in a favor to get a friend to officiate at the last possible moment. It's like, I know it's Christmas Eve, but and so here we are, and it is good. It is good.
Congratulations to my two favorite people.
This is a happy moment and a happy time. So and the dogs are rolling around on the floor behind me, grunting and farting. So that's
a regular old household now
in dogness and in health.
That's a bit more representative of the show we have ahead.
Yeah, the darkness is coming.
And just quickly, thank you for all of your sweet words and comments and love and support that you guys texted and emailed and posted and commented on all the pictures.
Phenomenal.
We really appreciate it.
We're really grateful. So
okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Have fun. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Renee.
I want to go with Renee wherever she's going.
You're going to stay right here.
I don't want the darkness.
You're going to stay right here. We got a lot to get through, and we're going to start with Venezuela.
Hola.
So,
la primera pregunta es, ¿dónde está el Viceroy Marco Rubio?
God. Coming up tonight, we're going to talk about the operation in Venezuela. We're going to talk about the horrific murder of a United States citizen by ICE in Minneapolis. And we're going to talk a little bit about the White House's new January 6th revisionist history website. Isn't that fun? So
can't wait.
This past Saturday, January 3rd, we woke up to the news that U.S. military had launched a strike on Venezuela and captured President Nicolas Maduro and his wife in a special forces raid titled Operation Absolute Resolve.
Absolute Resolve.
We're going to talk.
Every Pete Hegseth military operation could be gay porn, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure they're upset.
Operation Midnight Hammer. Operation Thundercock 9000.
They're going to save this for the UFC fight on the White House lawn. I'm sure that they're going to another name similar.
Yeah,
sure. So we'll talk a little bit more.
Operation Thrusting Manhood.
Rick, enough. We're going to talk a bit more about Trump's threats to the rest of the Western Hemisphere in the wake of this in a bit, as well as the Democrats' response to this. But really quick, I want to start with Trump's line of reasoning and what might be going on inside his head around this decision. So Really quick, we have Marco Rubio saying this is about regime change and a dictator who oppresses his people. Hegseth says it's about drugs like fentanyl and cocaine. And Trump saying openly that it's about oil. By his own admission, Trump gave a heads up to the oil companies about this, but did not notify Congress, notably. So other than a distraction from the Epstein files, which we have discussed at length, what do you guys think that this is really about?
If I may quote Donald Trump using the phrases he's used so often, taking to oil. That's clearly what the shiny object for him. I do think it's about a broader question, though, is Trump sees the world like a dictator. And there is a theory, I'm not going to go too deep in the rabbit hole of who it came from, a crazy Russian right-winger, that Putin should get Europe, Xi should get Asia, and Trump should get North and South America. And then we divide the world into three and fuck our allies, but that's how the world should look. And I think that has influenced them a lot, but don't underestimate the venality of Trump just wanting to snatch the oil. He really thinks the Venezuelan oil product is this magical economic fix for the U.S., that it's going to lower energy prices. It's not. He's just wrong on that, as on so many things. But I do think this reflects a contempt for international order, a contempt for our allies, a contempt for the reality of what's on the ground. Because look, he didn't change the government there. He just took the top guy out. It is still run by Chavistas. It is still run by Maduro's closest allies and friends. The system of oppression still exists there on the ground. Nobody's freer now in Venezuela. Nobody's having a better life. They just don't have Maduro in front of them. So this was a venal, weird, damaging exercise. But what do you expect at this point?
Well, and nobody seemed to be on the same page about it before they decided to speak to the American public about it, despite the fact that they've been planning this for months, apparently, and to be planning it for months, but not to have a plan in place for what happens after the fact, other than the fact that they were like, we're just going to take the oil, and to try to say that
on brand.
Right. But to say that it's a law, because at one point they're like, well, this isn't an act of war. This is a law enforcement activity. And I'm like, but it sure looks like if you just take because originally it was like, oh, just some tankers. And then it's like,
looks pretty war adjacent to me.
Well, and if you take a country's main resource, like this is what they got. This is their main export. So if you commandeer that, you're basically taking over the country. And you don't see them. He talks about wanting to do this for the Venezuelan people. We know that the Venezuelan people are experiencing all sorts of security issues on top of energy issues and food issues. And you don't see the U.S. sending any food over there. You don't see them sending anything to help directly. And we could be doing that.
If you wanted to help the Venezuelan people, you would not go in and say, we're taking a cut of your oil profits because we want to, because we can kill you if you don't. You would not do that. You would not say those things to those people. You would help a pro-democracy movement. And, the woman Machado, who won the last election, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, Trump has disqualified her from talking to her because she won the Nobel Peace Prize and he didn't turn it over to him.
So that sort of brings me to my next line of questioning for you guys. So for those in the audience who have not heard this piece of it, initial reporting also indicated that the last straw for Trump was seeing video of Maduro dancing, which we had doubts about, but he straight up confirmed. Let's take a look.
He's a violent guy. He gets up there and he tries to imitate my dance a little bit. But he's a violent guy.
So as for the vision for administering Venezuela in the weeks and months ahead, I'm going to read from the Washington Post here. Two people close to the White House said the president's lack of interest in boosting Machado, despite her recent efforts to flatter Trump, stemmed from her decision to accept the Nobel Peace Prize, an award that the president has openly coveted. Although Machado ultimately said she was dedicating the award to Trump, her acceptance of the prize was an ultimate sin, said one of the people. If she had turned it down and said, I can't accept it because it's Donald Trump's, she'd be the president of Venezuela today, this person said. So Machado then went on Hannity this week to grovel to no avail. If there were ever a clear indicator that our country, and now by extension the world, is at the mercy of Trump's ego, this would be it. So your thoughts?
Absolutely.
Well, if they couldn't control her enough to get her to refuse the Peace Prize in the first place and turn it over to him immediately, they can't control her enough to give them whatever they want. So that right there is disqualifying for her. And it should be obvious. And I see people going back and forth on this, on whether this is a good thing for, obviously it's good that Maduro is out, but in this manner, it's not. And so it's frustrating at this point because we can't run our own country. And so to see this man over just petty bullshit, not have a succession plan in place or anything in place that isn't just the regime that's already there, like Delcy Rodriguez? Delcy Rodriguez, yeah. Who is fiercely loyal to Maduro, like, I don't see it. Basically, it feels like they're going to control her in the sense that.
I mean, what happens? Yeah, exactly. What happens when the oil companies say, okay, well, we're going to send people down there because we're going to make a huge amount of money. We're going to send all of our oil field workers down there to rebuild all these refineries, rebuild all these platforms offshore. What happens when those people start getting kidnapped?
Exactly.
Or killed? What happens then? Because Trump thinks that you can do this without putting boots on the ground. This is a lesson that has painfully been learned by this country over the last 2 decades. And it will not work. As I jokingly said the other day, if you think Iraq was bad, Venezuela is the Iraq of Vietnam's. It is going to be a very quagmiry bad idea very quickly.
Well, Rick, don't you think he's just not admitting that there will eventually be boots on the ground? Boots on the ground.
Oh, no, yeah, he's just denying it because he does know, he does have a feral sense that his base is not happy about this. The thought of regime change puts their radar up. And there's been a little division inside of Trump land over this. I wouldn't say it was I would say it was a solid double maybe for him, but not a home run.
But here's the thing. They know they just need to buy the time that it takes to fill their base with enough propaganda around it that then all of a sudden the base is going to be screaming, we want boots on the ground, war, war, war. And so he knows his base and how to get them.
Oh yeah, he can rev up those folks in ways that he needs to drumbeat it for a little longer than they did. And that was a downside of the secrecy of the operation, was that a big part of Trump pushing out messages is it takes the whole MAGA media machine has to come together. And this was very secret, so they couldn't like drumbeat it the way they wanted to.
Well, so in terms of building propaganda for future things, since the raid, Trump has threatened the likes of Colombia, Mexico, Greenland, Iran, and Cuba with military intervention or invasion. Let's take a look.
What's a little regime change
everywhere?
What's a little regime change montage?
We have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor, and that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick too.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
it sounds
Colombia?
good to me. Yeah.
Obviously, Greenland should be part of the United States. And so that's a conversation that we're going to have as a country. That's a process we're going to have as a community of nations.
So you can't take it off the table that the U.S. would use military force to seize Greenland. You can't take it off the table.
Jake, I understand you're trying very hard to, which again, is your job. I respect it. It's great to get exactly the headline, right? That catchy headline.
I'm trying to get an answer to the question.
That says Miller refuses to rule out. The United States should have Greenland as part of the United States.
You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered.
Something's going to have to be done with Mexico. You know, she's very frightened of the cartels. They're running Mexico. And I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, 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 Mr. President. No, 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 please. So we have to do something.
I pray and hope that 2026 will be the year that we make Iran great again.
So we've learned at this point to take Trump at his words. So do you guys
As
think
we
we're
should.
looking at future invasions? Where and why? Is it all five?
I think Cuba is the one you should keep your eye on. That is for two reasons. One, Marco Rubio is obsessed with Cuba because he's of Cuban extraction. And I think he very much believes that taking out the domino of Venezuela will end up causing the trickle down to get Cuba on the regime change list. And there's an argument to be there is an argument to that. But Colombia, Cuba, Mexico, Greenland, I'm swamped.
I didn't know that we had that much. I know might makes right, but I don't know that we had that much military might to go around to sprinkle.
I mean, let me say this about Trump saying, "Oh, this was the greatest military operation since World War II." Who didn't think we could snatch this guy? Who woke up in the morning thinking, "No way we could ever get into Venezuela and snatch the president"? We could snatch anybody, maybe not Putin or Xi, but anybody else is fair game if you deploy the special operations community into it. The problem that we have right now is that it takes months and months and months and months to plan these things. They only planned for this thing. Now, will they try to go after Colombia? Will they try to go after Mexico? I got to tell you, if I'm Colombia or Mexico, I'm on the phone already inviting the Chinese to send 5,000 observers to your country to protect them. I'm not even kidding when I think that's a very high likelihood. Anyway.
Well, and also as far as the instigation, the escalation of things, he always is going to do well when he creates chaos. That is where that's his realm, the realm of chaos. And so if he can create chaos
is his superpower.
Right. And other, Europe and the European Union coming together and having to have conversations, it just creates distractions and makes it easier for him to push whatever agenda he's trying to push.
Of course. 100%, Maya.
One more thing on this, and then we have to move on. Some of the Democrats were more forceful in their condemnation. I want to take a look at what Chuck Schumer had to say about this, and conversely, how J.D. Vance responded today. There's been a lot of focus from Democrats on the fact that it was unconstitutional and that Trump defied process by not going through Congress, which recalls to me that the load-bearing tweet about how the last 2 decades have been Democrats clinging to the rule book and saying a dog can't play basketball while a dog dunks on us over and over and over again.
Right.
So let's take a look at Schumer.
And we have the War Powers Act, which you mentioned.
Right.
I have the right to put that on the floor. Tim Kaine is the sponsor along with myself and Rand Paul, so it's bipartisan to a degree. And the Republicans must, if there was ever a time they must step up to the plate, this is the time. And they're going to, if they don't, they're going to feel the heat from their constituents.
Every president, Democrat or Republican, believes the War Powers Act is fundamentally a fake and unconstitutional law. It's not going to change anything about how we conduct foreign policy over the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months, and that'll continue to be how we approach things. Go ahead.
What should Democrats do here?
Look, the dog is out of the dog has left the yard. I mean, there is no. What they should do is try to peel off 6 Republicans, which they did today with the War Powers resolution. But none of that matters. None of that's real unless and until they cut off the money. None of that matters. It's all for show unless they say, we're not funding this. We are not doing the defense appropriations bill. We are not doing the NDAA funding bill. We are not doing this. We're not funding ICE. That is something that Democrats are going to have to get used to very quickly. If they end up taking power next year, or possibly even before, if Mike Johnson keeps having bad luck with his caucus, they're going to have to be out there and be willing to take hard votes that stop spending in their districts in some cases until this White House behaves itself.
Here, so many Republicans are terrified of Trump because they've seen if he can turn on Marjorie Taylor Greene to the point that she's getting death threats. Everybody knows what is to come for them, and politically they have no career whatsoever after Trump comes for them. So I don't see too many Republicans defecting, and I think watching Chuck Schumer say anything right now is so frustrating because people are losing healthcare as we speak, and he's enabled so much of that.
I was told that if we ended the shutdown, people would be so happy that Chuck Schumer was going to protect their healthcare. How's that working out for him? Because it hasn't.
Yeah, the brilliant strategist, he is not. He's a man for another age, and so that's why I'm glad to see that there are Democrats that are primarying other Democrats and people who are willing to fight, because the game has completely changed. And I keep saying this, that we're at a crossroads, and we have to decide what kind of fight we want to put. This is where we will be. The trajectory of things is Donald Trump will be kidnapping his own. I think, Rick, you were talking about this, that they'll basically be detaining U.S. officials as well at some point.
At some point, look, Trump is in a very dark place right now. The economy is terrible. He's polling in the mid-30s, and it's slowly creeping down. He did not get a bump out of Venezuela from the early polling we've seen. None of this is making Trump's political prospects any brighter. And because of that, I think we're in a moment where he will do more reckless things rather than fewer.
Oh, yeah. They're going to amp up the fascist antics because that's all they have at this point. And I think that's the danger in the normalization of things, because if what's happened in the last week had have happened over the span of several weeks or several months, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we would have been like, what the, like insanity. And instead it all happened compacted in a week. And by tomorrow and the next day, we're going to be on to the next crazy thing that they do.
Oh yeah, guys, he is going to do some more crazy shit in the next X hours or days. I do not put it past him to deploy active duty troops into Milwaukee. I mean, into Minneapolis, excuse me, not Milwaukee. Minneapolis.
Of which,
but yes, we could talk about that.
Speaking of which, this has been the biggest. It's crazy that we basically started a war this week, and this is still the biggest story today.
Yeah.
So yesterday, a federal immigration agent shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis during an immigration enforcement operation that JD Vance described today as, quote, going door to door to try to find criminal aliens and deport them from the United States, something that's totally normal and doesn't sound Gestapo-ish at all.
Oh, no, not a bit.
Just to frame, we have to keep reframing how crazy this still is because it's wacky, but the content.
I don't want to interrupt you, Kate, but there's a book about Venezuela, and in the description of it, it's things can always get worse. I believe it's called, and they're describing the secret police wearing balaclavas and driving trucks without license plates, rounding people up. And my mom, it was in the car with me, and she's like, "Oh, that sounds familiar." So
horrifying. Yeah. So the context, to sort of wrap up the summary here, the context for the ICE push in Minnesota has to do with the fraud allegations that were spun up by the right-wing outrage machine over break, leading ICE to turn their focus to the Somali American community in the state. Trump world immediately came out after this incident, brazenly lying about the events that led to this woman's death, calling her a paid agitator and a domestic terrorist who weaponized her vehicle in an attempt to kill the officer, which you will see in the video, which if you've not seen yet, it's very upsetting, and we are going to show it. But first, let's take a look at Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem's response from Texas yesterday.
Which, by the way, I was told that her response happened like 18 minutes after the shooting, where she still knew nothing.
You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers.
The disrespect of even not taking it off her hat to do that little press conference.
It's disgusting. She is only a meat puppet in this for Miller and Trump, but the degree to which she was willing to go out with no information and lie and tweet out those lies, and Trump tweeted out those same lies, and the inhumanity of these people. Trump saying, "Oh well, the other woman in the vehicle was screaming. She must be a paid professional agitator." No, that was because her wife had her brains and blood were scattered all over the fucking front of their Honda Pilot over their kids' stuffed toys that were in the front seat. That's why she was wailing on the street, Donald. But Noem in particular has become this unbelievably glib and facile liar about these things. And every time I mean, you know, when they asked Tom Homan today, have you ever seen ICE abuse their power? Oh no, never. Really? You shot a woman 3 times in the fucking face and that's not abusing your power? Cool story, bro.
Well, and that the malignant narcissism that is our current administration / regime is always going to lie, because everything that they've done is premised on a lie. They got into power on a lie. So they will lie all the way until the very end. We can never expect the truth from them. And I think that's what makes the Chuck Schumers of the world so frustrating, is because they act like if we just do the right thing for
maybe the Republicans will feel
around.
a sense of shame.
Right.
Oh.
And
how's that worked out for you so far, Chuck?
Yeah. So go ahead, Kate. Oh, Kate, you're on mute.
Sorry, there was an ambulance going by. I would like to show the video.
Let's do it.
Because for anyone who doubts what happened or is listening to the way that the Trump administration officials are reporting on this, I mean, you can see it pretty clearly.
No! Shame! Shame! Oh my fucking God!
I'm sick of people ending up dead because of this administration.
Yeah, that would be a big issue. The fact that they're fine just killing people. And I wrote a lot about this today. I spoke a lot about this on video today. What you are hearing and seeing from this administration is a message to Americans, not to illegal immigrants, not to people who were here, whatever their status. You're hearing a message to Americans of shut up. Don't you dare protest. Don't you follow us. Don't you look at us. Don't you try to exercise your First Amendment rights, or we'll kill you. And that is what I find to be the most disturbing part of this, is that I think a lot of people in the media, in fact, are missing that the reason they shot her was because they believed she was a protester of some kind.
Mm-hmm. It not just kill you, but smear your name, denigrate your character.
Yep.
And
make your family into part, and make your family to besmirch your family at the same time, because they were flipping out that the MAGAs were flipping out. They're like, oh well, her wife was in the car. You mean she's LGBTQ? That fits. I mean, it is again, the inhumanity of this is astounding. If J.D. Vance's wife, who is a brown person, if Usha was somehow pulled out of her vehicle and shot to death by ICE in some fucked up raid, I think he'd be pretty upset. I think he would ask for compassion, ask for answers, ask for the truth. And right now, they are heartless. They have turned Renee Good into the MAGA monster of the day. And these assholes like Jesse Waters and all these other people who really are begging to be punched in the fucking face. They behaved as badly as you could imagine.
And the attacks on the Somali community and because remember, they just sent in 2,000 agents based on a lot of lies around supposed fraud that was happening. Yes, there was fraud happening that had been prosecuted years ago by the Biden administration.
Yes, and it was led by a white woman from Minneapolis.
Exactly. And so these current lies, and remember, J.D. Vance had no problem lying about the Haitian immigrant community in Ohio, which led to people being attacked there. If you remember that story.
Oh yeah, killing the dog or eating the dogs, eating the cats.
Yeah. So this is just more of the same. And so these are communities that were stable communities that they are destabilizing in order to further their aims. And yes, they're saying, we will kill you if you speak up, which ironically is exactly what life is like in Venezuela. And so I think people are starting to connect the dots and understand that in America, we're not nearly as free anymore as we thought we were, because if exercising any of your rights leads to the threat of death, you're not all that free.
Correct. And one of the things I think that is the most troubling about this is you saw J.D. Vance today go in the press room at the White House and lie his ass off and basically brag about this, basically treating this like, ha, fuck you. What are you going to do about it? We have absolute immunity. We have absolute power. Nobody's going to change what we want to do. And that is really very much what he was saying today was, you know what? We don't care. We don't care about the law. We don't care about what happened. We care that we get our headline of hero cop versus domestic terrorist.
Right. And we now finally have his name, her name, of course, Renee Good, which it says a lot that her last name is Good. I believe in symbolism in many ways. And so
I know. I agree.
And that in itself is heartbreaking. Like I don't cry that often, but this morning I broke down into tears because of just so much frustration around the fact.
I get it.
Like what is enough? Like, when do we finally say as a country that this is not who we are? Because Donald Trump is talking about people should feel safer with having more soldiers in the streets, and he feels safer with soldiers in the streets. So therefore, and he's basically priming his base and getting people ready to see more of his goons in the streets. And so what that means, especially with the lack of training that a lot of these folks get, and like this guy, the cop involved, the ICE agent involved, apparently also got himself in a situation only months ago where he ended up being dragged by a car, and it sounds like he's the one who is the bad actor in both situations. Like maybe he's the one who needs to be trained and needs to be fired. And
look, and so many of these people who've come to work for ICE now, this guy is a 10-year veteran of ICE, but so many of these people that have come to work for ICE are Proud Boys and weirdos and dipshits. You know, I was talking to somebody today who said, you know, a lot of these guys are too chicken shit for the military and too dumb to be cops. And it just like struck me hard how on point that line was, because these people we're not sending our best into the streets of America.
No, we're not. And the American people deserve better because our tax dollars are paying for this.
Sorry
And
to start
that's-
Charles' year with such grim news, folks.
Yeah. Well, and here's like, we were screaming about the big, beautiful bill because all it was going to do was give more money to ICE, billions of dollars. ICE is funded like the military, and it's Trump's private military. So unless we all as a people start to speak up as the American people, we're just going to see this escalate. And they're going into, this is the thing, there's so much happening right now that we're not hearing. They're planning operations heading into Arizona soon.
Yep.
So good luck in Arizona. I just saw reports that 2 more people were shot in Portland by ICE today. And so
fucking believable.
So as they're running all these recruitment drives, they're bringing all these people in with minimal training and then sending them out to your communities. Like, this is where we have to go to our local officials and say, hey, now's the time that you need to make a stand, because otherwise you're going to be the one who's driving your kid to school and all of a sudden see 200 men going door to door. Like, this is the thing. It's all, again, Rick, you know, the Gravity's Rainbow quote.
Of course.
If they can get you asking the wrong questions, they don't have to worry about the answers. That's what this administration is so masterful at doing.
That's right.
They've got us all discussing, like, this was all based on a lie in the first place. And so the idea that we would even need thousands of agents going door to door in our communities, could you imagine if you looked on the news and that was happening in France or another country, like, oh, they're just roaming the streets, snatching people off the street? You'd be like, that's insane. You should never go to that country. And then meanwhile, he's like, oh, why don't the people of Denmark come here? Maybe because you're trying to steal Greenland.
By the way, I don't know if you saw the note from the guy in Norway the other day. He's like, why can't people from Norway and Greenland come here? And the guy's like, because it's a bad deal, dude. Because there's no health care. Because you behave like insane people, and because no foreigner is safe in your country
at all.
And look, folks, I just want to say one thing though. There will be a time, and right now, you know, you guys, I'm sure you guys all know this. Right now, Stephen Miller and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth and Kristi Noem and her boyfriend Corey Lewandowski and all these other people, they live on a military base in D.C. They live on Fort McNair in D.C. They don't live there because they're actually threatened by anybody. They live there because they don't want to face consequences. They don't want to face the social stigma of what they are doing to this country's reputation and to human beings. Someday they won't live there. Someday they will have to be back in the world again. And that someday, if the Democrats don't understand right now that every one of these bastards needs to be prosecuted for the abuses of their power and the abuses of American citizens and the abuses of people who are here, even people who are here without legal status, have rights in this country. That's not a debatable matter. That's the Supreme Court saying that, not just Rick being a bastard about it. They have to be held accountable. Stephen Miller and Tom Homan and Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski and all of these shitbags, Greg Bovino, who think this is fun, who think abusing people, who think shooting a woman in the face 3 times is justified, they need to be held accountable. I swear to God, if the next Democratic president nominates a Merrick Garland figure, I will start a Roosevelt project to take him out. We need an aggressive attorney general who's going to prosecute these abuses at the highest level with the greatest possible vigor.
Healing as a country only comes with accountability. If you're going to even think about it on a micro level,
there's got to be some ass whooping before there's any healing.
Yeah, well, exactly. And we mean ass whooping in the legal, political sense.
Sure, whatever.
But
whatever you say.
But if you think about it from, if somebody harms you and you want to move on, you can't just move on if they just pretend like they didn't harm you. And
right.
That's what this administration
I never hit you, baby. What are you talking about? I never hit you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Ike Turner effect. It doesn't work.
It doesn't.
Kate, move us on to something happier.
Oh, I can't. I actually have
Unfortunately,
one
no.
more.
Yeah.
I have one more thing about ice. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But it's not happier, but it's a little bit more creative. We're gonna put on our lightweight tinfoil hats very quickly. I want to show a video that circulated online today. Of you might have seen on the news, there was a guy who burned a flag at one of the protests. And,
that obvious plant.
Well, he was approached, and he really revealed himself by saying nothing. Let's take a look.
Why would you run off? Why would you run off? That's weird, to burn a flag and run off. That doesn't make sense. That's not a protest.
Why are you not back there at the protest where you got everybody riled up? You came here to do what? The Boogaloo Boy? An accelerationist? What are you doing here? Where's your car? Where you from? Why are you here?
Yeah, we know. We remember George Floyd, so we know you guys are around.
Hey, fuck your flag burning, dude. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
We're not happy.
So
let me tell you what the big tell was of that guy's a MAGA stooge. Those fucking Jordache jeans he's wearing in 1979.
I've always said this.
What?
Like Antifa doesn't wear jeans like that. We know
Antifa doesn't wear bedazzled jeans.
God, they're like Miss Me jeans. Jeans for men.
7 for all mankind.
They want so badly to make it seem like wanting peace on our streets and not wanting having people roam our streets is anti-American. Like they want so badly to act like wanting due process rights, that wanting people to not be murdered is somehow anti-American. Like the flag is ours too. It's everyone's. And so when I see stuff like that, it just immediately takes me to that headspace where I'm all like, what are you trying to and yes, accelerationist for sure. If you want this tinfoil hat thing, yeah, they want to start a civil war. They're dying for it.
They
right.
do.
I want to tie that a little bit.
It's
I
in
haven't
their DNA. It's so deep in their DNA, this thought that we could have the cleansing fire of racial fury and they can suddenly return to white America.
I've only skimmed because we've been on live as this has come out, but I want to tie it up with, there was apparently just another ICE involved shooting or Homeland Security, whatever, involved in Portland, where 2 people were wounded. Do you guys think, having watched Stephen Miller and his philosophy, because he's the one who's obviously really leading this over time, that part of the motivation for these operations is to incite a riot so that they can use the Insurrection Act and do
100%. They are trying. They're 100%. They are trying to use the Insurrection Act or trying to use any action to invoke the Insurrection Act so that they can plow in there with active duty military and plow in there in a way that lets them shoot people.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
well,
and they've been putting the laws into place for some time to enable them to do things like that. Like, we can, if your protesters are surrounding your car, you can drive through that crowd of protesters because your life is in danger. In just the way they're characterizing, I think it was DeSantis who said, people need to stop weaponizing their vehicles. Show me the video of people weaponizing the video. If anything, I've seen ICE in Chicago run a woman.
Right. I've seen ICE vehicles crash into people deliberately. I've seen ICE officers wreck people's cars to try to get them off the road. And of course, to go back to one thing in Minneapolis, as more video comes out, and as more analysis of it comes out, he was not in the line of her vehicle. She was turning away from him. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it, but they're going to say it over and over again, folks. But just so you are clear, they shot her for no reason. She was not attacking them or running them over or assaulting them or weaponizing her vehicle. They shot her so you and I would shut up.
Scary stuff. Speaking of the Insurrection Act, to put a button on this ICE thing, which I'm sure will, if nothing insanely worse, which I'm sure it will, happens for next week, I'm sure we'll be back on this discussion. But for today, I would like to wrap with the new January 6th revisionist history website that the White House has put out.
Oh, God.
Well, it should have been, and it was for like an hour. It should have been a much bigger story, but it got lost in all the other horrific shit that has happened this week. So I just want to take a look at what this is all about. So this is the top of the page. They do this whole thing. There's a video embedded of Nancy Pelosi out of context saying that she like takes responsibility for January 6th, like that she didn't deploy the National Guard. I want to look at some excerpts from here. So Capitol Police response escalates tensions. They blame the police, who I believe six or seven Capitol Police officers died in the aftermath of that event. So that's gross in its own way. President Trump urges calm. They put that at 2:24 p.m., which is, I believe, the time that he tweeted, Mike Pence didn't have the courage.
Right. Didn't have the courage. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Mike Pence could end this.
Yeah, there it is. Mike Pence refuses to act, which again, Rick, you had brought up the point, I think you and Andrew, that a lot of this is so that the different websites the different LLMs, yes, ChatGPT and such, will
correct.
Start to...
So AI will, as they crawl, this will become embedded in the fact basis. And I've been doing a lot of research on this for my new book. And there are places out there, you don't see the websites. They're invisible to you and me. They're randomnames.com, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ABCDEFG.com that nobody ever goes to or sees. But on those sites are things like Donald Trump is the tallest, handsomest man to ever be president. So when the AI scans it, they go, okay, well, it looks like a fact to me. And so when you ask the AI, who's the tallest, handsomest man to ever be president, it goes Donald Trump. So they're going to put stuff like this out there on January 6th, on Russia, on Trump's corruption, on everything, so that they can start reshaping the battlefield as the AIs continue to crawl the web looking for new content. It is a problem from hell, as they say.
Well, and people who are coming of age right now are coming of age in a time when the White House is just pure propaganda, hiring propagandists, like every influencer right now that is in the Pentagon instead of actual news outlets.
Well, they're not reporters. They're not reporters. They are influencers.
Right. And so it's just they're state-run influencers, basically. And, just to tie this back to the ICE activity in Minneapolis and Renee Good's murder, is that all of this is happening in the backdrop of who's the J6ers were all, they pardoned them all. Those were actual domestic terrorists. So this week, the government just called a woman who was just trying to basically, I think either had just dropped off their kid at school.
She just dropped off her kid at school.
So it's just trying to get home. That's the domestic terrorist. They're labeling her as a domestic terrorist, all while celebrating and pardoning people who were responsible for the deaths of the blue lives that they claim to care about. Yeah. It's so fucking twisted that's the shit that makes me cry, because it's frustrating, because how do you get out of the web of lies that they are weaving for the American public and exposing kids to? You got Turning Point in all these high school chapters now. And so this is the stuff that is going to be influencing kids. So if there's anything...
You've got Turning Point now in some states. It's mandatory that schools admit and recruit a Turning Point chapter. And in Florida, the legislative session is about to begin, and there are 6 bills to memorialize Charlie Kirk and to add him to the high school curricula. The martyr Charlie Kirk. Fuck you guys.
I got chills because I wanted to say fuck Charlie Kirk, and
I just did.
Okay, good. It may be difficult for us to talk to the adults in our lives that we're frustrated with, but what we can do is make sure that we educate the children in our lives, make sure we're talking to the teens in our lives and what kind of content they're consuming, because so many of them are falling down the right-wing pipeline because of the influencers, this right wing, they basically go on looking for gym content and self-improvement content, and within a few clicks end up spiraling into this Andrew Tate type content.
Yeah.
And they're the ones we can't let online people be the biggest voices in their lives. And I know it's hard to sometimes connect across generations. I have a teenager, I know, but we have to try, because honestly, I don't know what else to do anymore other than to try to at least educate the future generations.
I think that's right, Maya. And I think there is a degree to which all this chaos, all this violence, all this harm is masking a lot of the economic damage that's happening to younger people in this country and the economic fear that they are experiencing. And I think there's an opportunity for the Democrats to reconnect with them. It can't be Chuck Schumer. It can't be Chuck Schumer. But that reconnection has to be authentic and genuine and feel like it's coming from a real place, not from some sort of like campaign written by a bunch of consultants in DC with focus groups. It's got to be genuine. And I hope we can get to that sooner than later as a country, because that economic damage to Gen Z in particular and millennials in particular is extraordinary. And there's an opportunity there to sort of get our country back with a lot of those folks. I mean, the good thing about Trump's base is when they started out, they were 65 to 75 years old. Now they're 75 to 85 years old. And demography is the undefeated champ. So, or the actuarial tables. So there is a chance for a younger coalition to emerge here, but we've got to keep up the work and do that. So
and understand that we have an uphill battle, and that's just, it is what it is.
It is entirely what it is. And folks, here at the Lincoln Project, we are going to be running 26 races this year. It's called 26 for 26. We're going to help take back Congress. And because there is no world where a MAGA Congress holds Trump to account for the next 3 years. Not going to happen. Now, Mike Johnson may lose the majority, but before next year. It's a small chance, but it's a meaningful one. But we're going to be doing that at the Lincoln Project. It is time to get your boots on, everybody. It's time to get your strap on your sword again, because we're going to be out there battling away this year. And you're going to see us going after Trump. You're going to see us going after these Republicans who have betrayed their oath, betrayed their country, betrayed their constituents. And we're going to hit them hard. You're going to hit them hard every day. And we hope you'll join us. We're glad you guys are watching our first show back this year. And,
join us. It's going to be a great group project, because it's time for us to do our group project. I feel like we're out
lock
of here.
Arms, people.
Yes.
Kate, what did I do wrong? Did I miss something?
No, I was just coming in for the wrap up.
Okay. But yeah, and so you can catch us every Thursday here on The Breakdown.
Yeah.
And
a million podcasts.
I am bound to tease. You asked me for good news, and I came to deliver.
Yes, please.
On Tuesday, we will be dropping an episode of the Lincoln Project podcast featuring Dropkick Murphys.
Kick Murphys.
Oh,
Casey, baby.
Teasing their new single that's about ICE. Am I correct?
You are correct.
So make
and
sure.
By the way, there are a lot of fucks in that podcast. We let it rip.
RIP our monetization.
RIP monetization, but here we are.
Are we not allowed to say the F word anymore?
Well, we can. We didn't do it too early in the thing. I made sure to drag it out a little bit.
Our editors can be very creative.
Yes, you can bleep the first couple.
Yep, that's how you do it. This was so dark. I usually try to bring something fun, but this was a really horrible news week. I hope that when we come back next week, we can have a little bit more.
Hey, folks,
fun.
here's a happy thought. Donald Trump is one day closer to death.
Yes. There's always something to celebrate. And
there was an article that I like we didn't do a lightning round this week that I would have included, that was like a sort of inside look at the White House, and they talked about like Trump falling asleep in meetings and basically just everything that was a conspiracy about the Biden administration has really come to fruition with Trump. Like that everyone else is running the show for him while he naps and watches TV.
If you guys, I mean, this is why Stephen Miller has all this power. Because Trump's like focused on the big things, like renewing the White House, floor plan so his ballroom can be an extra 20,000 square feet, or getting
and apparently adding another floor to the West Wing or something. Now they're going to build another.
I got nothing.
Wait, here's something random and fun. Vivek Ramaswamy's security team, apparently one of them just got arrested for drug trafficking charges. Yes.
Deport.
Sure. Yeah. Deport all the criminals.
That's something random.
Deport.
Right.
Deport.
Deport.
Right.
Oh, guys.
Like what a downer. I'm so sorry.
Well, folks, folks, this was a grim show tonight. I promise we're going to be a little lighter next week. And I promise that we will do the lightning round next week, because people seem to like the lightning round.
I love the lightning round.
I do too.
I was trying to keep us short this week, but we went
for an hour.
We did.
Folks, just think about it this way. Even if it was dark, at least you weren't watching a MAGA channel like Fox or OAN or Newsmax or CBS.
Yeah. If you think that this is dark, you guys,
or CBS.
Or CBS.
We show up.
That's my little dig these days.
Yeah. We show up here every week to read to you in an hour the horrible shit that we consume online and on television. I don't know, 16 hours a day.
Yeah, and if you saw our chats, oh my God, it's like the horrors that we keep from you.
I basically have to do a detox after that's how. Yeah.
Well,
we're going to get through 2026, and we're going to get through it together, y'all. That's
all
we
are.
saying.
As I like to say, and we'll leave you with this: the horrors persist, but so do we.
Yeah, so do we. Like and subscribe, folks. Feed that algorithmic beast for us, will you?
Yes.
We'll see you next Thursday.
See you next week.